strange, weird, and paranormal. You're listening to Strange Shock, broadcasting on 1660 AM in Northside, 91.7 FM HD2 WVXU in Cincinnati. We're also streaming at radioartifact.com around the entire planet Earth. The intro track to this episode and most of our episodes is the Strange Shock intro by Star Silk. I'm your host, Alyx.
And I'm Ginelle.
And we've got a couple of very special guests tonight. If you'd like to go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, I am Stephanie Grable.
And Mike Grable.
Yeah. And we were talking to you all about your part of Citizens for Disclosure in Ohio, but also you're running the second annual Dayton UFO Conference this July.
Guilty on both accounts.
Yes. Very exciting stuff. No, it was wonderful. I believe you all approached our table at Frogman Fest, if I recall correctly. So we were super excited to have you both on the show.
Yes.
Also, always love having local events,
yes,
you know, that we can discuss and have people like come around to. So let's take a peek here. How about you tell us a little bit about the Ohio Citizens for Disclosure? Maybe like what do you guys do for that specifically, and what's that about?
Sure. So it's actually a national organization. So we just happen to be the state leads for Ohio and Kentucky and Indiana, as the objective is to have a state lead for all 50 states. And we're actually branching out into Canada and across the pond to Europe, probably sometimes in 2026.
And Australia.
Yeah, in Australia.
Oh, wow.
We just learned that UFO journalist Ross Coulthart's daughter is helping us. I don't know if she's joined as an official member yet, but and if anyone knows that name, she's on board as well. So the mission for Citizens of Disclosure is to build grassroots coalition dedicated to securing full transparency on UFO, UAPs, protecting whistleblowers. And we do that by engaging communities and our legislators to push for accountability and cultural change.
Yes.
And the Citizens for Disclosure is under the umbrella of Danny Sheehan and Sarah Nelson's New Paradigm Institute, which are both nonprofit organizations. Basically, the New Paradigm Institute is pushing for UAP UFO disclosure and understanding what that means to us as for a human family, and to create the new paradigm for a post-disclosure world. So that was kind of the founding roots. But to get that, to achieve that, Danny and Sarah realized that you have to have boots on the ground and have a grassroots organization to spread the word and to engage with our elected officials.
Which they've been doing their whole lives.
All at the same time.
They've been
Yes. If
Oh, wow.
I could go into a little bit of background for Danny Sheehan.
Sure.
Oh, for sure.
So he Harvard Law School and Harvard Divinity School. I think he got his PhD at the Divinity School, graduate. He's been a constitutional lawyer since Watergate was when he was right out of university. And so basically he's accumulated 5 decades of federal civil rights cases. Some of them are more recognizable than others. The Karen Silkwood case he was involved in, Iran-Contra. Of course, I've already mentioned the Watergate, and many more. So he's been embedded in the constitutional legal side of it, and he got pulled into the UFO part of it when Jimmy Carter's cabinet approached him before Jimmy Carter took office in the 70s and wanted to get to the bottom of all this kind of UFO stuff. And so they contacted him, and he tried to do some digging with the Project Blue Book records, which Project Blue Book had been mothballed in '69. And then he also tried to contact the Vatican and get some of their records as well. Danny Sheehan was a Jesuit. He was a lawyer for the I don't know the exact organization, but basically it was a national Jesuit council in the U.S. or he was related to them somehow.
Wow, that's amazing.
He and Sarah are absolutely amazing.
They are amazing,
incredible people.
That
It's
is
a wonderful
wild
organization to be part of.
Oh, for sure. This is so fascinating. Especially also having that history there tied into it. You know, that is just absolutely amazing with that. So I know you guys were discussing about this kind of like grassroots, like boots on the ground level. And I also didn't realize you two were part of Indiana and Kentucky.
Oh, yeah.
So this is such a wide branch. I think that is so cool that this is actually expanding across US and as well as into like other nations. Do you feel like that expansion is maybe happening because this kind of like topic is becoming a little bit more mainstream? It's getting a little bit more attention than it maybe has in the past. And that's why this initiative is kind of able to push forward so quickly right now.
Well, we would humbly like to think that we have something to do with that.
Yes. Right. I was like, maybe that is you all. Like, we don't know. Right.
We have over, I think I heard 3,380 some volunteers. So these are just ordinary people like you and us who have other lives and other jobs, and they are passionate about this subject. Many of them have done very deep dives and have a lot of information.
And a lot of them are experiencers themselves.
A lot of them are personal experiencers.
Yeah.
Yes.
Means a lot.
And so it's a great network because we share, we do video conference calls every Thursday with all the other state leaders across the country. And those calls are led by Danny Sheehan's staff on the New Paradigm Institute, and they are kind of our leaders, organizers. And so we share resources, knowledge, experiences, podcast, good podcasts to listen to. And so we kind of, we share the quality information that's out there and kind of get through the chaff of all the noise. So having said that, yes, I think it goes both ways. We've been around for just over a year now and have grown from literally 2 people probably last January in 2025 to the 3,300 that I just mentioned.
Wow.
So the word is spreading, and we're not just sharing podcasts. We are calling our congressmen, we're calling our senators, we're scheduling face-to-face meetings and video conference calls with them and their staff, and we are putting a little bit of pressure and at least letting them know what the word UAP means and what UFO means and what has been hidden from them.
Yeah, a lot of them have no idea that this is a thing right now. And a lot of Congress individuals and presidents, they're on a need-to-know basis, and it seems like they don't need to know anything.
Wow.
It's been really interesting to educate.
Oh, I'm sure.
And our representatives.
Right. We are actually educating most of the elected officials on this topic.
And I would imagine a lot of that is due to the stigma around it. Politicians don't necessarily want to be associated with, talking about UAPs. There is still a lot of stigma. It's gotten a lot better, but they just don't want to be seen as the politician always talking about, little gray men and little green men and flying saucers.
Well, thankfully, we've got some Congress people coming out that are very open and getting this out in the public.
Yeah.
And not to mention, they're all so busy. I mean, it's amazing when we speak to them what they have going on. It's I feel very fortunate they're actually speaking to us and taking this seriously.
Yeah.
Fitting us in.
And we do have some allies already in both the House and the Senate. Tim Burchett from Tennessee, Anna Paulina Luna from Florida, Nancy Mace from South Carolina, Eric Burleson, who's been in the media a lot lately, from Missouri, and Andre Carson from Indiana. The amazing thing about that list is it's bipartisan. You don't get to talk about too many bipartisan topics these days.
Yeah.
And then in the Senate, we have Mike Rounds, Kristen Gillibrand, Chuck Schumer, and then, of course, Marco Rubio, what is now the Secretary of State, but he was a former senator of Florida. He's a big advocate on this topic as well.
Wow, that's amazing.
Not to mention, former President Obama, Trump, and now J.D. Vance have all talked about it within the past probably 90 days.
Right.
It does seem like it's becoming less and less possible for them to not acknowledge it,
Yes, the evidence and information is astounding. It's also astounding that it's been kept secret for so long, and so it's finally starting to come out, and that's a good thing.
Yeah, the effort that's been taken to hide this, it's incredible. For 80 years at least. It goes back to the 30s, actually, 1933.
Right.
That's the funniest thing, seeing my generation especially talking about it, is like anytime anyone in any amount of news is just like, oh yeah, they found this proof of these like UAPs, they found proof of this. Like my whole generation, they're just like, yeah, we already knew that. Like moving on, like we already know.
We've been telling you.
So it does feel like this weird, like known unknown secret. Like we all know, but it won't be acknowledged.
It's getting us more elderly folk to come along.
That is fair.
I think one of the big questions, and you hear often, 80% of the population believes that there's life outside of Earth. But I believe the question is, that's kind of a given, but are they here?
Yes.
And that's what we're trying to determine and to get people to understand and accept.
Yeah, well, even the evidence is, there's a lot of evidence that they are here and have been here.
Yeah, right.
And so the next level to that question is, okay, so yes, you believe that the galaxy or the universe is so big that there's other life out there. Okay, that's an easy one. But then the next question is, but do you believe that they are here, have been here, and interacted with humanity?
Yeah.
That's a little more,
Yeah, and that's what we're about.
a little more eye-opening of a conversation.
For sure.
I have, I just like to ask anyone who's into this kind of stuff about it, do you have a preference between UFO or UAP? Or do you kind of use both interchangeably?
We're a little more old school and do go with UFO, and I think we're kind of mixed on UAP was used to kind of divert the conversation, but it also, the advantage is it destigmatized it a little bit. UFO, the term UFO was stigmatized for so long that that I think UAP eases that tension a little bit.
Oh, and most people, they know UFO.
Yeah.
A lot of people who are new to this, or if you're discussing this with them, they don't know what UAP is yet.
Right.
So it's just kind of a general term that we typically use, UFO, understanding that it's UAP and USO and all the other names.
I'm a little old school with it too. I just still use UFO out of habit. So I always think it's interesting seeing what other people think about it.
Oh, for sure. I know for Ohio has a unique history with like UFOs, especially near like Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, which is also close to where you all are going to be holding the conference. Does that influence your work at all? Just like maybe some, like you sort of know, like, hey, there is some history here with it, or at least there's been the stories told in regards to that help you, do you feel like, a little bit? Or do you think sometimes that could hinder you because people don't want to talk about it because it's been talked about so much?
Now, I find that people love to talk about it.
Yeah.
Incredible. You know what? I think they feel relieved that they can finally open up because it's just now not being ridiculed. And so, yeah, they love to tell us about their experiences. And it's incredible. Just then when you think you've heard everything, you're like, wow, it's mind opening is what it is. And it really allows you to expand your thoughts and ideas. And I think it's incredible. And especially people around Dayton.
Yeah, they've got so much stories.
They've seen so much. And if they haven't themselves, their family or friends, I mean, you can't talk to anyone around there that hasn't had some type of experience.
And they all know the mythos of Wright-Patterson.
Yes.
Even if they're not into the topic, they know that Wright-Patterson is related to the topic.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
Which we haven't super talked about sort of the history of Wright-Pat on here. It is really, really known for a lot of UFO UAP sightings. I've definitely heard a lot of stories about Wright-Pat actually being haunted as well. I haven't seen anything there, but that's not to say there's nothing there. It's definitely a spooky place. You see all kinds of weird things in the sky around there.
You know, it's interesting, since you mentioned the paranormal, I never put the two together. You know, it was always, you know, separate. And the more we've kind of gotten into this, the more we realize that there's a lot of overlap and interweaving of whether it's cryptids and the paranormal, if you want to call them ghosts, spirit, and then quote ET, aliens, non-human intelligence. And often if you have one experience, we'll say with paranormal, it's not a far reach to discover that you will or have had experiences with NHI, or I'm sorry, NHI or cryptid. So it kind of opens, I don't know if it opens your energy, or perhaps you were a receiver to begin with. But we've had years of paranormal experiences, and just recently have we started experiencing things outside, outdoors. So it's fascinating, truly.
Was there sort of like one specific like sighting that kind of like started you down this path?
No. I had something happen to me when I was probably 6 or 7 years old. We were coming back from it was Christmas Eve. We were coming back from my aunt's house, and it was in Morrow, and this is 50 years ago. So we were going through these back roads, and there's a 2-lane road, and this bright red light crossed the street. And in my mind, I'm 7 years old, it was Santa Claus and it was Rudolph. It was late at night. It was Christmas Eve. Like, let's get home. So when it crossed one side of the road and zipped over to the other, by the time we got to that point, and it was just woods everywhere, there was no way a vehicle could have gotten through this dense forest. So it just sealed in my mind, well, of course that was Santa Claus and Rudolph. Only he can do that. But now looking back, I'm like, wow, what was that? And my parents aren't, around any longer to ask. But so at a very young age, I experienced that, and then didn't think much of it. So yeah, that was it until my much later adult years. Yeah. So not much for me. What about you?
Yeah, we really haven't had a definitive sighting. I had what could have been a dream or a visitation when I was 4 or 5 years old. Yeah. Still trying to figure that out. And
our daughter as well.
And our daughter had one at 4 or 5.
Yeah. Oh wow!
But I kind of put that in the back of my mind until we started getting into this topic. But it mostly came through study of ancient civilizations, study of the Old Testament, and that kind of led us down this this path. Everything kind of came together. Yeah. Between ancient civilizations, extraterrestrial, extra-dimensional, and
the biblical stories, and going to the Cosmic Summit probably 4 years ago in North Carolina. It was incredible just to have so many thought leaders and thinkers, and it was fascinating to discuss these ideas and to hear again people's their own experiences. So that was probably when I really started thinking seriously about quote aliens and UFOs, and it just it really expanded our minds. Yeah, that's why I think these conventions and these festivals, they're they're so incredible because you get these experts, you know, these panelists and these speakers from around the world.
Yeah.
And for a day or two, you get to listen to decades of knowledge that they have. And it's a great way to discuss ideas and yeah, a lot of expansion going on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I did want to, speaking of Dayton and Ohio, and I know we'll talk about the conference in a little bit, but if your listeners are interested in the Wright-Patterson history and kind of intrigue on this topic, we have two what we call expert authors and speakers on the Wright-Patterson and the Roswell connection.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah, it's gonna be another conference.
So they'll be speaking at the conference.
Awesome.
And we could go through their names in more detail later.
Yeah.
For sure.
Did you want to go ahead and talk about the conference a bit?
Yeah, I wanted to see a couple of current things just before we jump off the Citizens for Disclosure topic.
Oh, for sure.
I just wanted to, I guess, make it clear because a lot of people don't know this, and that this topic is not covered by the mainstream media for various reasons, probably several of them intentional. But our Congress have written and voted on 4 laws in the past 4 years that actually have UAP and disclosure in their name.
Yes.
And I don't think people realize that, you know. And so in 2023, there was the UAP Disclosure Act, which we refer to as the Brown-Schumer Act. So
yeah.
Mike Brown, Chuck Schumer. And actually in that bill, it defines the term non-human intelligence as sentient, intelligent, non-human life form, regardless of nature or ultimate origin, that may be presumed responsible for unidentified anomalous phenomenon, or of which the federal government has become aware. So there's actually language in bills that our elected politicians in Washington, D.C. are talking and discussing and voting on.
Yes.
There was also the National Defense, the UAP Transparency Act of 2025, and then there's the UAP Whistleblower Protection Act of 2025.
Yes.
And a lot of these get attached to the National Defense, the NDAA, and many of them get torn down because for whatever reason, certain congressmen and senators don't want the transparency part included, or the whistleblower protection included in these laws.
But didn't only 3 people vote that down?
Those get stripped out. Well, and a lot of this happens in committee behind closed doors. So it gets stripped out before it goes to vote. But yeah, there are, I guess, rumors that it is known who has voted against those particular pieces of this legislation that I won't mention on the air.
Yeah, I know the UAP whistleblowers one. I feel like it was all over the news last year, and then very suddenly it wasn't anymore. Like, it was very quickly. And that was kind of when, like, a lot of my generation was like, we already know that the aliens exist. Like,
yes.
and also, you know, Danny Sheehan, he helps to write some of that legislation, obviously being a constitutional lawyer.
Yes.
There's a group of people who are kind of behind the scenes that help that, and also talking, on a regular basis to those folks that we mentioned before, those in the House and the Senate, to help get those things cobbled together and at least taken to committee.
Yeah.
And the current thing we're working on, before we change subjects, is what we call it's a pledge campaign for transparency. And we are asking current sitting representatives and senators and new candidates. We are reaching out to each one across the country and asking them to sign a pledge to support lawful transparency, which of course we say responsible transparency as well, because we know that a lot of this information is sensitive
Mm-hmm.
for the military. So we're not, we're mindful of that, but also congressional oversight, which means we're trying to get the oversight of this topic back into Congress's responsibility, which is the constitutional authority they have, by the way. So the fact that they do not have oversight on these black programs and these budgets is unconstitutional. Also, whistleblower protection.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously, in light of what's going on in the media now and in the whistleblowers who have come out in the recent past, that is very important to get this topic
huge, because without the protection, they're not going to come forward.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Right. It just gets buried again.
Yeah.
Essentially, you're right back where you started. Yeah.
Yeah, and they hold the key. They're the ones that are in the programs. They're the ones doing the work. They're the ones that are eyewitnesses, hands-on, and we have to protect them. And again, I mentioned current events with the 12 or whatever it's up to now, 14 murdered or missing.
Right.
We'll just say dead or missing scientists, and everyone can draw their own conclusions there. Obviously, there's no proof on those connections, but it is intriguing.
Yes.
And then also records preservation. So we're pushing for them to support records preservation of all these declassified documents, and then responsible declassification. That's why we are where we are, because the intelligence and military complex has overclassified everything on this topic. And I think an easy example is there are hundreds, probably thousands, of pilot and Navy eyewitnesses, military pilot, Air Force and Navy pilot witnesses that have seen and experienced, and there's even been a report of collisions and people being injured by this phenomena, and that is automatically classified. So when they come back to base, they are debriefed and threatened, and it gets buried.
Yeah, I'm sure they make them sign all kinds of stuff of like, do not talk about this.
Yeah, 100%. The threat is what's the word I'm going to forget? Treason. If it's treason, and then treason can potentially be punishable by death.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of carrots and sticks out there, and they're mostly sticks that fearful of their careers in life.
Yeah.
Oh, understandably so. I know you kind of mentioned this a little bit before we switch over to maybe talking about the conference coming up. You talked about kind of like preparing people maybe, or getting ready for what's called like a post-disclosure world almost.
Yeah.
What does that look like for you two? Have you ever kind of like thought about that? Like what kind of world would that be in that sense?
We've thought about it a lot.
Yeah.
We've thought about what it would be like to actually come in contact with a being, and as ready as we think we are, we've been told that it's such an ontological shock. It's a cellular shock that there's no way to prepare, even if it's something, a positive experience. So having that in mind, it's a lot of wonder. Yeah. I'm not sure. I'm not trained to help individuals and assist individuals on a psychological level. I don't have a degree in psychology or psychotherapy. I'm not a therapist, so I'm not inclined to do that. We know people are on our team that are ready and willing to help.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was drawn to Danny Sheehan's New Paradigm Institute. One, because we had gotten to know Danny via podcast and lectures over the past 5 years. But then when he started New Paradigm Institute, just the name caught me, because it made sense that we do need to alter, even without UFOs and aliens, we kind of need to alter our paradigm for the way we treat each other on this planet and the way we treat the planet. However, the acknowledgement of us also being part of a larger, galactic family, or however you want to put it, is absolutely paradigm shifting. I mean, I think that's what's so exciting about this topic in these times. We are literally talking about the biggest story in human history, and that's, to me, what's amazing, that it gets suppressed by the mainstream media. People still snicker at it because it's bigger than 98% of all the other stuff you hear on news and through mainstream media, but yet nobody's talking about it. So I haven't come to the answers yet myself, and would certainly love to help put together what that looks like, but it's a lot to process, and a lot to think about. So it's a work in progress.
And Danny and his group, they have experts behind the scenes that have the ability to do this. Not Mike and I yet.
And you're totally right. That is so important. It's not just getting there. It's what do we do after? How can we help people with these new potential experiences and things that, they could be starting to come across. So I think that's wonderful.
And it starts with some critical thinking. I think with thinking of this topic and using your critical thinking skills, and not just blowing it off, but actually thinking hard about it.
Yeah.
And the possibilities that it could present and will present.
Or responding to what you're told and what you're told to think.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. We're definitely in an age where critical thinking is unfortunately becoming less common, unfortunately.
Yes.
Alyx, don't get me started.
Right. Well, maybe we'll transition over to talking about the second annual UFO conference now. So this is taking place in Fairborn, Ohio, it's going to be near actually Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, correct?
Right.
You're kind of like in the area.
Right down the street.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. So people can kind of like drive by, check out Wright-Pat, maybe see Hangar 18 just from a safe distance. Please do not walk onto the Air Force Base.
Oh,
a warning.
I was
Please
like wondering what you meant by safe distance.
My husband did a little bit of work there, so he has also heard some things. But he did say there are some people crazy enough just to walk right onto the tarmac, and he's like, please do not do that.
Please do not.
I know you kind of teased a little bit about what you all might be having at the conference. Do you want to just give us a little bit of an idea of like what people can expect, attending and things like that?
Sure. It's all day. It's one day, Saturday, July 11th. Doors open at 8. And we will have vendors that will be, selling books and unique merchandise, usually related to UFO, cryptids, some consciousness, spirituality things. It kind of a lot similar to what was at Frogman.
Okay, nice.
That type of flavor.
And hopefully we'll have some science-based tabling and booths going on.
Yeah, we're nice. Trying to gear this to the science and education and university. That's to us. That's what disclosure is getting on the civilian side, scientists and universities, philosophers, artists, get a broader team of experts talking and exploring this topic, and not just suppressed into the military industrial complex.
Yeah,
that is wonderful.
So that's vendors, and then the speakers
which the speakers start at 9:00.
Yeah, speakers will start at 9. We have 6 speakers, and then we have a a woman who will be running what we're calling an experiencer forums. So people who have experiences and they want maybe a safe space to talk about it and talk to other experiencers. That will be kind of in a separate room, but running simultaneously with the speakers. And then all of our speakers will come together at the end of the day, and I'll run through their names here in a second.
Oh, for sure.
At the end of the day, we're going to have a full speaker panel for the last hour and a half, where they will all be up on stage with some directed questions. It'll be
audience questions.
There'll be audience questions,
live Q&A,
and but it will also kind of be moderated. We'll have a moderator leading that discussion. So that's exciting. So everyone has a chance. If they've had a question that arises or they already have in their mind, they'll have a chance to ask it directly to one of our speakers. So the speakers are, we mentioned Danny Sheehan earlier. He will be our keynote speaker. So it'll probably be the first time folks in Ohio in the Dayton area will be able to see him.
And they may know him by
live.
He used to represent.
Stephen. He was Stephen Greer's attorney for Stephen Greer's disclosure project, I think is the name of his. So he was with Stephen Greer for many years. He went off and then started the New Paradigm Institute. He also, Danny was also Lou Elizondo's attorney, if anyone knows that name. He's been pretty visible on this topic and published the book Imminent recently.
It is an Age of Disclosure, the film.
The film Age.
Oh wow, okay.
Is big, and we can talk about that before we get off if that's a good one to share with your audience. And Lou Elizondo was in that. So anyway, so Danny Sheehan will be our keynote speaker. He'll speak in the middle of the afternoon. Donald Schmidt is a 5-time best-selling author and Roswell researcher. So he has co-written at least, I think it's 7 books on Roswell.
Fascinating.
He became involved. He worked with or under J. Allen Hynek, and if J. Allen Hynek was involved in Project Blue Book back in the 60s, before it was shut down. And so Donald Schmidt came kind of out of that study, and he will be talking about Roswell and the connection to Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. And then we also have Ray Shemansky, who worked at Wright-Pat for just under 40 years. And he was an engineer, but he also is a UFO researcher, author, and lecturer, and has written a couple books on UFOs. And I think he has a book on a UFO experience up in Michigan, and then a family that had claimed that they had generational abductions, abductions across multi-generations.
Oh,
which seems to be the norm.
I was gonna say you do hear of that often. Somebody has that experience, and then it just kind of continues on from there.
Makes you wonder why. And there are some theories out there. And so then we Tom Wortman, who is he's the MC, but he's the director of MUFON for the state of Ohio.
Yes.
And so he has a lot of interesting stories. So he'll share a couple of his stories and also be the MC throughout the day. And then we have Ashley Hilt, who is a ufologist, cryptozoologist. She's local, by the way.
We know her. She does the, emceeing for Frogman Fest.
Yes.
yes.
So
She's great.
She's an author and lecturer, and she told me at Frogman that she's working on a new project. We were unable to listen to hear her talk at Frogman, so so we'll get to hear. We're excited to have her here in July. And then we have Jeffrey Wilson, who is the president of Friends for Serpent Mound. He and his wife run that organization, but he is also a crop circle expert, has studied crop circles around the world, and he's
exactly what you think.
He's a researcher. He's a researcher and author as well.
Yeah.
So he's also speaking. And then Linda Haley is, she will be the one running our Experiencer Forum, and she is a Reiki practitioner, an energy worker, and she is a non-terrestrial contactee as well, and has written a book.
And she has a wonderful, successful business in Columbus.
She runs the Reiki Center up in Columbus.
Oh,
that's
wow.
Cool.
And so then that's the speaker lineup throughout the day. And then at the end of the day, we will have the panel, the discussion panel, as we mentioned.
Yeah.
And then the evening before, for the VIP ticket is available, you will be able to kind of have a private reception with the authors and speakers at the hotel the evening before.
Yeah.
So for the VIP ticket holders.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah, that's a fantastic lineup.
For sure. And I love that experiencers form. I feel like that is something that a lot of, I'll be honest, a lot of conventions don't do. Like you said, there's a lot of exchanging of stories and information at some of these. But there isn't always necessarily just that open space, though, that is dedicated to that. Because sometimes people aren't comfortable sharing things like publicly, like standing in a booth or bringing it up in front of a crowd, you know, at a panel. So I think that is so great that you all are providing that experience.
Well, and it is a more intimate setting. It's not in you know, conference area. And you know, that's something that we're finding is that people are very anxious and happy to discuss this. And I think that we're very fortunate to have Linda doing this for us, because it's a need that we've seen just through tabling these conventions. I'm very grateful and feel fortunate that we get to provide this service and this opportunity for our ticket holders.
Yeah, it's a very intentional decision that comes out of something that we've learned our past year and a half involvement at Citizens for Disclosure. That's one of the great things about that growing community is it is a safe place for experiencers that finally found someone who they are, people, a group, a family that they can comfortably talk about without the snicker and the eye roll that they probably get from their friends and family, their own friends and family. And we've realized that is a huge attribute of that organization. And so we are kind of intentionally growing that even through Citizens for Disclosure as you know, a safe place for experiencers to bring in. And then we have many members who can help them. You know, we have psychologists, energy workers, you know, the whole gamut that are already members.
Authors, attorneys,
PhDs. So we're building a community that can support experiencers as well.
Absolutely,
yeah.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, I feel like people's eyes light up so much when you start asking, oh, have you ever seen something like that? Like, everyone has a story. It's just whether or not they feel safe enough to share that story.
Or if they allow themselves to accept what they see.
Yes.
You know, and not, you know, just kind of surrender and have some confidence and belief in themselves.
Yeah.
Say, yes, you know, I remember at one point, my son, when he was young, there were so many things happening to me. He said, Mom, when are you going to finally stop thinking this is coincidence? And I thought, you know, it took a 10-year-old. I thought, you know what? You're right. So, yeah, I think once you have confidence in your own vision, in your own, what you feel, what you hear, what you sense, you know, believe it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
and use your critical thinking skills and question.
Yes,
please.
Put it back to work. Put it back to work. Yeah.
Oh,
no worries. And I know you were talking about ticket holders. Is there anywhere in particular that people could go to purchase tickets? Do you all have like a website, or how could somebody potentially contact to get a ticket? I'm assuming you might have some at the door. You know, people can come in maybe.
We're going to play that by ear, but yeah, absolutely. We just rolled out Eventbrite. It's
Dayton UFO Conference.
Dayton UFO Conference on Eventbrite.
Okay.
And that is where tickets, there's information and details on that site. We also have a Facebook event page,
Mm-hmm.
Dayton UFO Conference.
Yes.
And then hopefully by next weekend, we will have Instagram.
Awesome.
So we'll roll out an Instagram campaign, and potentially a website will follow shortly thereafter. So we don't we don't have that yet, but we're close.
Yeah. No
Tickets will be
worries.
sold at the door only if there are
If they don't-
available.
Yeah.
Okay.
If they don't sell
If they
out.
don't sell out on an Eventbrite, then we have tickets available.
Yeah, and unfortunately, there were several people that came to the hotel last year and couldn't get in because the
There's
tickets-
capacity. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
Understandable.
limited capacity at the conference center.
Yeah.
For sure. So if you are interested in attending, for sure try to purchase your ticket ahead of time.
Yes.
To make sure you can get in and hear these wonderful speakers and some of these experiences.
Yes.
So
Yes.
Yeah.
And the VIP ticket is explained there on the page
Mhm.
fairly
Okay.
clearly as well. And that's for the Friday evening before
okay.
and the appetizers will be served. It's a cash bar.
at the VIP.
Yeah, at the VIP.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and
Wonderful.
it'll take place probably in the hotel bar
Restaurant area.
restaurant area.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah, we'll definitely want to make sure we share.
Yeah.
We'll try to share the link to the Eventbrite and everything like that
Well, thank
for
you.
our
Yeah.
listeners. Yeah, no problem. And
And I'm so glad we found you.
Yeah, we are too.
WBXU listeners, I mean,
Yeah,
since I came
my whole life.
college, right?
Yeah.
yes.
And we didn't know you existed. So when we found you at Frogman, I'm like, this is incredible.
Well,
Right.
since we moved to Lebanon, I'm out of range, so I can't pick up
Oh,
the
yeah.
HD station, and I can barely pick up the FM. But
Yeah.
I was a big HD fan for many years until we moved too far north.
Yeah.
Oh.
And I'm too far south now, so I have to listen on the website instead.
I'm the only one still local. I'm the only one that can still get it that way.
What's actually amazing about Radio Artifact is when it first started, it was pirate radio at first. That pirate radio band is actually still going. You can only get it right out in front of Urban Artifact.
Really?
Oh, you know,
Yes.
That sounded familiar, and we know the fellows at Urban Artifact. In fact, I helped build out their tasting room downstairs.
Oh, that's so cool. Yeah.
Oh, shout out. Maybe they'll design us a sour. With
Exactly.
I-
Oh my gosh, that'd be so fun.
we can get you in touch with Scott, our station manager. He does all of the artwork for all their beers as well.
Oh,
yeah.
We love
He
him.
might sneak it in there. It'll just be like,
Oh, that would be fun.
That does remind me. We're trying to do like an UFO alien takeover
Uh-huh.
for the week before the conference up in the Dayton Fairborn area.
Oh yeah.
And we have talked to some breweries and have, maybe they'll change the name of their beer for a week or
Mhm.
have drink
Oh,
specials,
nice.
And the restaurants are going to change,
pizza specials.
Oh, that's so fun.
pancakes, and anything that's shaped like a
so
saucer.
trying to make it a week-long event
Yeah.
in the community.
Because
So
that's
yeah.
part of the fun
That's
of
the thing.
Mothman Fest is getting your Mothman pizza while you're there.
Or the Mothman burrito,
Oh.
Mothman Sunday. Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Oh my gosh, that's so fun. Yeah, so I think we still have a little bit of time left. I know, Mike, you mentioned that there was an Age of, was it Disclosure movie?
Yeah,
Yes.
there's a new one coming out.
Yeah.
Yes, the Age of Disclosure came out in November of last year, and it is directed by and produced and directed by Dan Farah. And it has, I think there's 34, somewhere between 30 and 40 current and former elected officials, military officers, pilots, intelligence officials, and scientists and physicists that actually talk about this phenomenon as though it is absolutely real.
Yeah.
And it's astounding to hear a collection of people who are credible and legitimate to talk about this topic.
Yeah.
And
Well, we've known they're there.
Yeah.
It's just like they're coming out now and
Yes.
they feel
Right.
safe enough to do it.
Yes.
and, we would also recommend indie documentaries by Dr. Stephen Greer
Mm-hmm.
for people who are interested or want to get into this topic. He has several. And then James Fox just came out with he redid his
Get additional information.
First Contact documentary, which was based on the Virginia, Brazil incident in 1996, which is better than Roswell. I mean, there's more eyewitnesses. Was more beings that were seen and experienced. There were doctors that actually saw them and operated on them in the hospitals. There was a report of a U.S. military jet came in on that exact week on a secret mission, and then the theory is they took the bodies and took them back to the U.S.
Okay.
Fascinating.
Yeah, isn't it Moment of Contact?
Moment of Contact, yes. By
and they've done the program,
James
and the phenomenon. Yeah.
Okay.
And also, Steven Spielberg.
I was just thinking that's the movie I was thinking about. I know it's like a fictional movie, but like even Spielberg's making a discllosure movie now.
Yeah, Disclosure Day. Yeah.
Well, yeah. Hasn't he kind of been doing it for years?
That's
Right.
true. He did give us ET already.
Yep. That is so true.
So that'll be out, I believe, in June.
Who did Close Encounters?
Was that also?
Steven Spielberg, right?
That was that was also. He really has been doing.
He's been working on Disclosure for 50 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Spielberg.
He just made it mainstream. He gave it to us,
Yes.
just a little bit at a time. Yeah. Yeah.
You know, there is that theory that they get behind the scenes with at some dark or secret contractors, and
They get a peek behind the veil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, like, it's slow, drippy disclosure to the public. So there's that theory.
Yes.
Wow.
Which, if they were going to do it, what better way than through, harmless movies? They're just good fun.
Well, then you can kind of, the tricky part about that, though, you can manipulate how people think of non-human intelligence.
Yes.
It can be really scary.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the narrative can change.
Yeah. It can be loving and so, if you go with Stephen Greer, they're very loving, and it's very different from some other perspectives.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be the one warning for the newcomers to the subject matter that watch The Age of Disclosure. You have to remember it's a lot of military people, and their framework or frame of reference is always national defense.
Right.
Yeah.
So it comes a little bit heavy-handed on the fear, a little bit on the fear mongering. And of course, we don't know what their intention is. That's the big question. So there's a chance they could be right, but
So that's why we often will recommend Stephen Greer with Lou Elizondo, just so you can get kind of the both ends.
A balanced approach.
You get you get a little bit of the, I don't want to call it duality, but exactly the balance between what's out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And on that note, we're actually at the top of the hour. The time goes by so quick talking about all this stuff. So is there, you already mentioned where to find that stuff. We'll repost everything for the Eventbrite. Definitely give us a follow when you make your Instagram page so we can share from there as well.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
The website will also be Dayton UFO Conference. We
Dayton
already
UFO
have
Conference.
it.
Wonderful.
Awesome. Well, on that note, we'll go ahead and sign off for the night. So good night.
And good luck.